This is the second of 3 videos on Global Anglicanism for the study day at St Benet's Church in Cambridge. The first and third videos, Christians Connected and Global Anglicanism and Building Better Societies, are also available on our YouTube channel. To find out more about the Learning and Formation programme at St Benet's or about life at the church in general, please visit our website www.stbenetschurch.org.
The topic for my second talk is Global Anglicanism and learning from each other about engaging with other religions and traditions. In the Anglican Communion, we as one community are called to witness to God. Our witnessing takes place in very rapidly changing context today. One significant aspect of our contemporary context in which we live and witness as Christians is its increasingly multi-religious and multicultural nature. In our societies and communities today, we are drawn to live together with friends and neighbors from different religions and cultures. Some countries and communities in which Anglicans live are already strongly multi-religious and multicultural for several centuries. While this is celebrated among some sections of Christians, it is also rejected and condemned by some. Contexts like in India can show how multi-religious living in communities can shape our Christian witness. On the other hand, some countries and communities, particularly in the West, are coming to terms with the increasing multi-religious and multicultural nature of the world only lately. Especially given the ways Christianity has shaped almost all spheres of lives in Europe for many centuries and in North America in the last few centuries, coming to embrace the new multi-religious context has been rather a slow and not so an easy journey. During the last few decades, globalization and war and violence in many developing countries, which have caused a huge rise in refugees, have led to migrations of people, particularly towards the Western countries. People coming from other religious and cultural backgrounds have to some extent altered the demography and social and cultural lives in some Western countries. Understandably, this has caused some apprehensions and tensions among some people and communities in the West. As obvious, today, people coming from Muslim countries are one group who are often targeted, and in some parts of the West, including in Britain, we see increasing Islamophobia in particular and xenophobia towards many migrants in general. Similarly, in some countries where Christians have to live with other religions which have a large presence, there are increasingly tensions and conflicts with other religions. In the 21st century, again, the tensions are mostly in the context where Christianity has to coexist with Islam, as we see in some countries in Africa such as Nigeria and in the Middle East. In these mentioned contexts, coexisting and relating with the religious other is an important area for Christians to witness to Christ. Yet many communities, particularly in the Christian West, are struggling, in spite of the fact that there are genuine attempts to address this issue. Struggles in Christian relations to other religions is not a recent issue though, and in fact, in the modern period, we can trace this back to the context of Western missionaries going to the other parts of the world. Positive attitudes towards other religions and interreligious encounters have been part of Christian missionaries reaching to other religions at least since the mid-19th century, and Anglican theologians, missionaries, and ordinary church people have played a huge role in such approach. However, in the early stages, engaging with the religious other was mostly as a channel of communicating Christian message to people of other faiths. In India, converted Christians in the 19th and early 20th centuries have played an important role in understanding that Christian relations to other religions cannot work within a traditional framework, such as treating other religions as heathen, false, and to be condemned. This was one of the central points of discussion in the World Mission Conference that took place in Chennai in 1938, when some missionary theologians proposed that Christianity should and will replace other religions. They were challenged by many Indian theologians and church leaders who felt that such approach would not work for Christian witness in a multi-religious context like India. I see that in the context of global Anglicanism, Christian communities in India and in other multi-religious contexts engaging with people of other religions is something that the Anglicans worldwide can learn about. Engagement with philosophies and worldviews in other religions has grown among Christians in India, but more than that, relating with people of other faiths is also an everyday and ongoing reality for Christians. Since the political independence of India in 1947, Indian Christians, particularly from the Church of South India, the union of which many Anglicans in India played a crucial role, have attempted to build better relations with other religions, particularly Hindu religious traditions. While there are interfaith forums and meetings among religious leaders, what I have often witnessed and researched is how ordinary Christians live and negotiate with their neighbors from other religions in their everyday lives. The church as a welcoming place to anyone is often strongly felt in contexts where people from other religions exist. During the missionary days, the use of language such as heathens to refer to Hindus and converting them from wrong to right or from untruth to the truth was dominant. Such approach exhibited a rather hostile approach. But increasingly, there is a genuine respect for other religions, and among some sections of Christians in India, there is an openness to see how God as the Holy Spirit is active in other religions. For Anglicans worldwide, global Anglicanism offers a very good platform for learning about how Christian communities relate with and live in the context of other religions. Learning from the experiences of Christians in these contexts can help to overcome the fear of the other, the fear of the one who is culturally and religiously different. Also, another factor for Christians in the West, but not only in the West but also in some other countries, is the relationship with secularism or secularization. There are hundreds of models and perspectives discussing the relationship between religion and secularism. However, generally among some sections of Christians during the last few centuries, and particularly during the last few decades, secularism has come to be defined as the enemy and threat for Christianity. In India, I should say, this has been overcome to some extent, in theory at least, if not always practically. This is to see the secular as a space for different religions and traditions to exist together and enrich each other, rather than treating each other as an enemy to compete with. And Hindu moderates and secular leaders in India are often at the forefront of human rights and social issues, and we Christians can learn a lot as we are also committed to many of these. In fact, in India, there have been many examples of Anglicans working with people from other religions and secular realms on many of these issues, rather than constantly describing the secular as something to be fought against. Global Anglicanism is not just about learning from some parts of the communion, which engages with other religions and secular worldviews, but also learning from the neighbors from different faiths, which can shape our own understanding of our religion and can strengthen our faith and spirituality. We can learn more about God and religion together with our friends from other religions and can grow in our respective faiths and spirituality. Most often, Christian witness and mission are connected with teaching or passing on the message to others. However, it is more of learning rather than simply teaching. Learning from the religious other is also important, as we see in Peter's encounter with Cornelius in the New Testament in the book of Acts chapter 10. Here we see that Peter has the humility to learn from Cornelius, who is a completely different other to Peter. To conclude, the church cannot pretend that Christians alone are living in the world or in our society. And learning from our fellow Anglicans who engage with other religions and traditions, learning from fellow Anglicans as well as fellow Christians who engage with other religions and traditions, can shape and strengthen the global Anglicanism.